Thanks for joining us today to discuss life and godliness with Rick and Angela Carter. If you'd like to be part of the conversation, email us at cartersforhope@gmail.com. That's Carters, the number 4, hope@gmail.com. Any questions you have, we'll discuss in future episodes. Right now, sit back and let's join in on the conversation. Welcome back. It is just after the 4th of July, and so we had a great 250th happy anniversary birthday, America. So we had opportunity to go down to Lawton, and we went to Medicine Park, which is a beautiful area, but
weird little town.
It was kind of a special. I don't know what it was. What do you call it?
It was like a town fair, I guess.
Fair, festival. They had all kinds of stuff.
I don't know.
Anyway, lots of interesting people watching, if that's what you would like to do. If you don't mind watching people that. Anyway, so it was.
I described it as.
It was good being
Oklahoma's little redneck town.
It was good being with friends and family. That was the good part.
Yeah, we did have a great time.
Anyway, so we did have a great time. If you ever get a chance to go, it is really pretty. I wouldn't go on the 4th of July though. That would be the time not to go. We are going to be starting the Hope Conference this week, which is kind of a big thing every year. This is our biggest national conference for training for addiction ministry and for counseling ministry.
It's like the Super Bowl for our church.
It's huge. Our church just goes all in on it, and it's been that way for a long time. Our folks love it. They love the ministry. They love the ministry. They love the serving the churches that come and the people that come. And I think we've got a lot coming this year. We've got a biggest registration we've ever had.
Right.
So we'll see.
And most independent Baptists don't register.
A lot of them don't anyway. So
sorry, I'm trying to get comfortable.
Anyway, so pray for us this week. Well, I guess by the time you watch this, it'll actually be over, because this is Monday morning. And we're recording today early because we won't have time this week. On Thursday. Conference runs 9 to noon, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and then Friday, 9 to noon, 4 to 6, 7 to 9. That's the day. 9 to noon, and we take a break till 4 to 6. We have dinner, 7 to 9. And then Tuesday through Thursday, and then Friday will be 9 to noon and 7 to 9. We don't have afternoon services on Friday, and we'll start actually tonight with the kickoff. Well, technically we started yesterday, and then Monday night.
And we had great services yesterday. They were really good.
Oh yeah, very, very good. So anyway, but we can give you some details about kind of what all happened. Next podcast, we'll tell you, if you weren't here, a little bit of what happened, but. We're going to talk today about ministry together. And there's been, over our ministry, there's been a lot of changes, but we're not going to talk so much exactly about the ministry as much as ministering together in general, and when changes occur, changes that happen within the ministry and how they impacted us. The difference in how we ministered to each other and to the work during those times, right? So we started out, I think we've shared our story before about as far as we met at church camp. We met on Monday. We got engaged on Thursday.
Yeah, we did.
And then that was in June. We got married in October because Angela needed to turn 18. And so we had to wait. And so we waited a little past she turned 18 so we could fully plan a wedding instead of elope.
Which was what we were going to do.
We should have eloped. Nah, I'm looking back at it. No, I just... Anyway. No, we are... started, though... So when we first got married, I was already doing youth ministry in our church. The church that I was,
I had only been in a youth department.
Right. And not grown up in ministry at all.
And only for 3 years.
Right. So anyway, we kind of she jumped right in with me as a youth pastor's wife there for 6 months, and
I had no idea what to do.
yeah, we just did stuff.
We just had fun.
Yeah, we did. We enjoyed it.
Because
We
we're
were
still
very
young.
young. I was 18, and I turned 19 right after we got married. So I was 19, I guess, once we got married as a youth pastor, and just trying to help there in the church my dad was starting, and that was in Colby, Kansas at the time.
Mm-hmm.
And 6 months after we got married, our initial plan was we were going to go to Bible college.
But they wouldn't let us in.
But they told us that we had to wait out another semester or something like that.
Yeah.
But we ended up starting a church instead. And that we were so young. We were way too young, to be honest. I mean, I'm looking back on it going, how in the world were we allowed to do this? Because we were so young. But
and strong-willed.
Very strong-willed. We had a lot of conflict. I'd say our worst conflicts didn't start until we were
2.5 years.
Well,
I mean, we had a little bit in the beginning, but
yeah, we did have some conflicts. But the ministry side of it, we just jumped head first into church planning, and
we should have known it was going to be a rough ordeal just based on the honeymoon.
Yeah, Angela got sick on her honeymoon.
And then I was sick for a solid month.
Yeah, for a month.
So we didn't really
she ended up in the hospital, to be honest. So that was a blessing.
Yeah. So we should have known. We should have known, like, okay, this is how it is.
There's lots of stuff we should have known. But anyway, so from a me perspective, basically I grew up in a church planter's home, so I knew what you do for church planting, and I just did that. Knocking doors, preaching, finding places to meet, working on the building, those type of things. And trying to figure out how to be married at the same time. And there was a lot of challenges there. I don't know, for your perspective, what your perspective was on that first church plant.
My perspective was I had no idea what I was doing.
Okay.
And I felt that way every single day. Like, I have no idea what I'm supposed to be doing. I have no idea what to do. And it was crazy. Oh, yeah.
New mugs.
We have a new mug.
But the new one says our name on it.
With Rick and Angela down there, yeah.
This one was the first one we did. So.
But I don't know. I just felt clueless the whole time. Like, I just felt like, of course I was sick, and all that. And then when we moved up there, it was, I just didn't know what to do. And if it hadn't been for Risa and Bill, I probably would have gone crazy, because Risa, of course, they stayed with us quite a bit in that first church plant, and so she gave me somebody to talk to. She gave me somebody to learn from, and even though we were really both learning together, but
Bill and Risa Smith had just started into evangelism, and so they were with us a lot.
Yeah.
And that was a blessing.
And I didn't
in many ways for both of us.
I didn't have a job. Well, I mean, I had one off and on, so I had a lot of free time, and I just didn't know what to do.
Right. So that we should have been there longer than we were. I look back at that, and I believe we should have stayed there.
Yeah.
But we ended up moving, and
because that was the model that you had seen growing up. You're there 2.5 years. You have this amount of people.
Yeah, when we weren't even there 2.5 years. I think it was not even 2 years quite. But God had given us a building. We had about 30 people in a small town, and the church was doing fine. It was paying its own bills. It was paying us some, and so we turned that over to another preacher, and we went over to Derby, and we were going to start church. We started church in Mulvane, but we were supposed to do deputation. The pastor wanted us to do deputation first. We should have done more deputation, but we didn't know, and we did. We were so clueless about so many things, to be honest.
So in the first church, like, I didn't teach. I think, like, the first special I ever sang was with Risa,
Mm.
You know, I didn't know what to do. I felt like I just kind of followed you around, like I just kind of clung to you.
Yeah, we didn't really
'Cause,
have a lot of
no, we
like
didn't have a lot of
children's
kids.
church, or we didn't really have many kids. We just had
Mm-mm.
services, and
No.
um,
I youth camp. I mean, I went to youth
we
camp
we
three
had a
years
few
in a
kids,
row.
but we didn't. I don't. Did we do a Sunday school class?
We did. I don't remember. I didn't do a Sunday school class. I know I didn't teach until,
I'm talking about for kids, but
yeah.
I don't even remember, to be quite honest right now.
And
But
you know, I don't even think I taught till we got to the Dows. That's the first time I remember teaching.
no, you did some Sunday school classes in Mulvane.
Did I? I don't
Yeah,
remember it.
but in Mulvane we were having kids. So Angela was pregnant for 3 years.
Mm.
Really she got pregnant kind of right after we left Oberlin, the, the
I
first
just
church,
found out I was pregnant when
and
we
then we
left.
we traveled for 3 months. That was challenging,
Mm.
but fond memories of that, to be honest. And then we started in Mulvane, and we had lots of trouble.
That's where we
I say we
started.
had lots of trouble. We got started, things were going great, and then we had a church split, and that's where it kicked off a lot of our marriage problems. And I would say we had the marriage problems already, and then the church split just exploded them.
Mm.
And
The stress.
it was a very bad time.
Yeah.
For us, we were just fighting nonstop, lots of conflict, lots of trouble, and we really got to the point there where we were on the verge of divorce. We were both miserable.
I was stressed out as a mom,
And all we did was fight, it seemed like.
yeah.
And so anyway, God opened the door for us to come down to Beth Haven to come get counseling and also take college classes and so forth.
I think that was actually a turning point. Like I remember we fought like every single day.
Right.
And then as soon as we made that decision, I felt like for the first time we had
I
hope.
think,
And so I didn't,
well,
I think
yeah,
our fighting slowed down.
it did. Well, it did.
Until we got here.
It did, but then we did get help, and that was a huge part. But I would say, this is what I was going to say too about that, is I feel like we didn't know how to minister together until after we were here for a while.
After I learned because I just didn't know what to do.
Yeah. And we were serving together in teaching college and career class. And I feel like, obviously we went out on visitation together. We would do that together. But we didn't really plan together and work together for ministry. I was doing it all, and I didn't know that was missing. You know what I mean?
I didn't either. Because I was clueless.
But when we started teaching the college and career class at Beth Haven, that's when we really started to see, okay, hey, her gifts here and my gifts here, and we're working together, we're serving together.
I don't think we recognized that.
No,
we just started
it just gelled.
Mesh.
Yeah. Meshed, gelled.
Whatever.
Came together.
We started to be a big mess together.
Yeah. That works.
Instead of our own separate mess.
Yeah, it was one big mess instead of two separate messes.
Yeah.
Anyway, so the thing is that it began to be a partnership, I think, in ministry at that point.
Yeah.
Versus you along for the ride. And I think that's something I see a lot. Not a lot while we're traveling necessarily, but I've seen a lot over the years where sometimes a couple is like, she's just along for the ride and she's not really engaged in the ministry. And I think that change helped us so much. It helped me, because I don't think of it's my ministry and she's just my wife at home and so forth. It's not that she's pastoring, it's anything like that. But
I get to do that?
No, you don't. But the thing is that she became indispensable to me in the ministry in that sense, right? It was like I couldn't have done the ministry without her
Now that you
in
say
that sense.
that, I think back, and I think I remember in the first two church plants, I remember saying, "Well, you're the preacher. You're the preacher.
Right.
You're the preacher.
And that's all true.
That this is your ministry. This is your ministry. I don't want to mess up your ministry."
Yeah.
I had no identity in the ministry
But that changed
when we got
when
here.
we were here, when we were
Yeah.
serving in the college and career class
Yeah.
together. And that really, I feel like, changed that development for us and that trajectory. And then we went out into evangelism after school, not by choice per se. We had people asking us to come to meetings, and I went to Pastor Ivan and said, hey, these churches are asking us to come to meetings. What do you want me to tell them? And he said, do you feel called to ministry, to evangelism?
Evangelism?
And I said,
No.
nope. And he said, well, go anyway. And that was how we got into evangelism the first time. So we traveled for a year and a half. But
Yeah.
through that, God took us to Oregon. And the thing about the traveling during that time was it was very much a different type of ministry together. We had 4 small children, but there certainly it was ministering together in so many ways because um, Angela was just I don't know, just an integral part of how we were doing things. And of course, the kids, and a lot of what we were doing at the time was children's ministry. But, knowing that, hey, she knows how to do this, she knows how to do that. And she was taking a lot of those aspects. And I don't mean to say, I think there's a fine line between we're ministering together and she has to be my assistant pastor or something like that. I
Yeah.
don't think I ever put you in that position.
No.
But at the same time, on
Sometimes I probably inserted myself there,
no,
but
I don't really feel that way at all.
I mean,
But
in the respect of trying to help you, probably more than I was.
well, there were times. Okay, so there were times where you thought that you should tell me how things ought to go, be done. And sometimes it's different than having an opinion about, hey, have you thought about this, or can we pray about that? But
Right.
as more of, I don't think
I don't think this is the right
this
way.
and
I
this
think
and
we
this,
need to do
and
this.
like, well, that's not how we're going to do it. This is what we're going to do. And she was never made a fuss really about that. But that that happened a couple times. I think that's kind of a normal.
Yeah, a normal husband wifey thing.
Yeah, but I think that through that period of time, we were transitioning from teaching the class, doing school. I was serving on staff here at the church prior to that. But as part of what I was doing, daytime was here working at the church, and then but ministry time together was the teaching of the class and so forth. Um, and we ran bus ministry
And I
together.
learned kind of the working of a church during that
Yeah,
time, really,
Angela
because
learned how to.
I served in the nursery, I
Right.
served in the choir, I served in the kitchen, all of those things,
Yeah,
the different areas that I had no clue.
I would say that she learned how to sing here at
Yeah,
Haven,
yeah, I didn't
in the
know how to
choir
sing.
and all
I
that.
probably still don't know how to sing, but
And
I like it.
a lot of the older ladies in the church really took her under their wing, and helped her learn a lot of different aspects of
Yeah,
things.
I learned the function of a church. It's different. An established church is different than a church plant.
Yes.
And so we were doing the church plants, I had no idea what aspects needed to be in a
Well, and
church.
every church we'd been part of were church plants in essence,
Right.
because the church you
But
got into was
I didn't know how to like set up a nursery. I didn't know how to do Sunday school. I didn't know
right,
how to do fellowships or anything like
right,
that. And when we came here, I was able to be a part of all of those different areas. And I think that really helped me understand, one, how a church functions, two, how I can help in the ministry. Because I didn't know
right,
that I could help in all of those
right,
areas,
right.
until we got here.
Yeah. So, and then in evangelism, there was it was kind of different, because we didn't have nurseries and stuff like that. You weren't running
No,
anything like that, but you were helping
I was
me
helping you
with
set up
setup and
and
doing the different
run
meetings
off
and
copies,
right.
all of that.
So then
First, I think probably the first time, like, it pushed us to how to work together.
yeah, very closely,
Yeah.
obviously. And so when we ended up a year and a half into that, we started a church in Oregon. That's God used that to get us to Oregon to start the church. So, and in Oregon, the church planting was completely different than it had been prior to coming to school because of your engagement. Because, you teaching Sunday school, planning ladies' things, serving in that capacity where there was a ladies' side of the ministry.
You close that, right?
Um, anyways,
Sorry.
yes, but there was a ladies' side of the ministry, but it was not. So it wasn't like all just general church. There was
There were
were
things.
parts. I did men's stuff, you did women's stuff, and all that. So there was just definitely a difference
Yeah.
in all that. Then that's where actually we ended up starting the Hope Ministry
Yeah.
because of a family that was there that had gotten saved, but had come out of a very worldly background with, hippie communes and stuff like that. And there was, he had still some drug issues, and we thought, well, we'll try and help. And we didn't, I had my master's in counseling, and I had gone through some of the addiction stuff we did here, but it didn't seem like that was what we should do, that material. And so we began to write material and develop that. And that was, I would say, I don't know what, 4 months, 5 months of writing for me.
It seemed like forever because that was your sole
It
focus.
may have been up to 6 months. Well, I was pastoring still, also, obviously, but
But I
I
mean, out of
just
all your free time,
all my
when we
free
weren't
time,
washing windows,
I was writing,
and that's the other thing that I
and that's
think.
where I really started writing, to be honest.
Yeah, because we're talking about ministering together. I think that was the other thing that really helped us too. There in the Dalles was we had the window washing business, and we worked as a family.
Yeah.
We all went as a family.
Yeah, matter of fact,
And
they
did
did
that.
a article about us in
Yeah.
the newspaper. Painful work, it was the headline, and
Because we had the kids out there, squeeging. But I think we just grew so much in the Dalles in our concept of ministering together, and I don't even think we realized that we were doing it, like, at the time, you know what I mean,
I
that
think
all of those things were.
I think things fall together as the further you go to.
Yeah.
Yeah, you learn more about how to minister together.
Yeah.
But that development, I think, was huge.
It was.
And I finished the Hope material, and we were there not too much longer after that. All right, we're gonna have a pause here. Sorry. Well, that was a new experience. I don't think we've ever had anyone knock on the door while we were
No.
recording, but we're here in Oklahoma City, so
And we've had a lot of knockings on the doors.
here later. Anyway, so we're
back to the Dalles.
Back to the Dalles, and wrote the Hope material there. Started using it there. Had several churches pick it up. We weren't even like trying to spread it at the time, just through word of mouth. People started asking for it. And then shortly after that, we moved here.
Right.
And that was a big transition because we went from pastoring in a relatively small town to and a relatively, a smallish church. We started there. God gave us the facilities and all that, and then we ended up, when we left, we were running in our low 40s.
Yeah.
And God was really blessing. It was a great thing, great time. But we came to a church running 3 times what we were there.
Yeah.
And that was an established church. There were already,
even though we were familiar with it.
Yeah, this is where we went to Bible college.
Yeah.
But, there were already processes and patterns and people in positions of, doing this and that.
Hmm.
And Angela became my secretary for the
Which
first time.
I had never done anything
She's a
like
great
that at
secretary, by the way.
all. So
She's a great secretary.
it was like
but
something new.
but that was a different transition. Now, and this is where I was to say, when we were just working together and serving together, and you were doing secretary-ish stuff for me, with me, but it wasn't a secretary position. It was just doing things here or there, and
That
I was
needed to
doing
be
things
done.
right. But when we came here, it was the requirements. And after a while, I fired her because she could not seem to separate at some points when we were husband, wife, and when we were pastor, secretary. And that was a transitional problem. That
In the beginning, because I just didn't know.
and she'd be like, da, 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 and
I'm done.
well, or she would be upset about the way I was wanting to do something,
I'm like, I don't
and
think
she's
it's
and
gonna work.
I would say, okay, but you're
Do
my
it
secretary.
anyways.
You're not my wife in this office here. You're my secretary in this office, and this is how we're going to do it.
So that probably is a key. I think because of our counseling training, we were able to work through that and go forward.
I wouldn't say we fought about stuff.
No.
But we did have
But we knew
a couple intense conversations
we knew
about
the
it. So.
keys to get past the
Yeah.
disagreement. But I think as couples, if they work together like that, when you are ministering together like that, when you have a conflict, if you don't know how to get through it and you don't know how to separate those roles, because I think that's huge.
Yeah.
Separating those roles.
Separation of roles is big. We would talk about that a lot. Like I say, hey, if I had to talk to her about something I knew she wasn't going to like, I'd be like, I'm putting on the boss hat right now, the pastor hat, and you're the secretary right now. You need to remember that. Not you're not my wife at this moment. Saying,
And I had to remember not to take it personal.
This isn't a negotiation.
I had to remember not to take it personal, and then not to carry that frustration or upsetness or whatever home.
Yeah, but it did get to the point where I felt like it was a strain on our relationship, and our relationship was more important than you being my secretary.
Yeah.
So
also our kid stage had changed. So
yeah.
So I needed to be home.
So we transitioned from that. But in that regard, Angela was huge in, just helping run, dealing with the ladies ministry, dealing with the nurseries, not running the nursery, or not being in the nursery all the time or anything like that, but
organizing
or even teaching a class, because by that time you were with me and the adult, teaching the adults, but dealing with minutes, Sunday school planning and all that, like we had when we were in college and career.
Right.
And so it just was another transition. It seems like every time we transitioned to a new phase, it was another transition of how we ministered together.
Yeah.
But finding that fit and balance,
it took a little while each time to figure out how we fit together.
Yeah, it's not like an immediate, like everything just clicks immediately.
There's trial and error, a lot of trial and error.
And through that, of course, then we started the Hope Conference shortly after we got here. And
that's where I found what I really like to do.
That is. And that's why I was going to bring it up, because what she really enjoyed was the behind the scenes planning for the meals, planning for the, the helping workers, minister and working with the workers and training the workers, to be honest.
Yeah.
And so Hope Conference, really, that we're getting ready to have this week, it was kind of a big thing where she learned how to administrate, I guess, in the behind the scenes, dealing with the food and the nurseries and the, things like that. So I could focus on the teaching and the preaching side of it. And
I think also the other side of that too is because, all the staff they were doing stuff.
Yes.
They were plugged in other areas. So there wasn't anybody left to take that area.
Right.
So
it was definitely a big stage for you
I loved
and
it.
yeah. And then because of that, I think too, there was a natural lead into doing the ladies conferences.
Yes.
And
That
she
was my other that was my other love.
your
My
love.
other love. I loved doing the ladies retreats.
Yeah. So that was, I think I think in development and ministry together, finding the things that you each love doing is a big core part of it,
Mm,
right?
yeah.
And, and if, and giving those, like, not feeling like I had to control every aspect of this or oversee every aspect of what she was doing, like giving her the reins on dealing with the kitchen stuff and the those type of things, and trusting her in that aspect of ministry
Yeah.
as we developed that together. So I feel like those were big transitions.
Yeah.
And so and Hope Ministry started out relatively small,
Yeah.
the conference, and then just over time has built and developed, and now we do more than just training for addiction ministry. That's where we started, was mostly training for addiction ministry and then some counseling. Now we have a full week's training for the addiction ministry workers training. We have a full week for the
Counseling.
counseling. We have a full week for the um, students of Hope programs that will come and come through the week. Then we have Conquer Conference, which is the teen and college age portion, and we have a program for the
Kids.
kids program, and then the nurseries. So it really is, with the
It's
kids
grown into a
program,
huge thing.
it's like 5 conferences at once,
Plus the revival every night.
plus the evening revival meeting. So 6 conferences at once, maybe.
Yeah.
So anyway, it's huge, but it really helped. I feel like that when we started, that is when aspects of how we ministered together began to even build from where we had been,
Mm-hmm.
but really develop into a bigger partnership within ministry together.
Yeah.
And I think the problem sometimes, maybe if you're in the same ministry, you get stuck in a rut. And I think that in reality, the changes in our ministry over time helped us to not be stuck in a rut.
Right.
And I think that if we had been in the same ministry, we probably would have never developed in that same way. So it's kind of a good thing to experience change in ministry.
Yeah.
At the same time, that doesn't mean you can't grow if you're in the same ministry. I think you just have to work at it, right? You have to There has to be an effort to ministry development together.
Yeah. No, absolutely. And I think even for me, just participating in all the different areas in the ministry until I found what fit me.
Not everyone's going to have the same fit.
No.
Not everyone's going to
And
have.
I developed over the years. Like well, in the Dows, I don't play the piano, but I learned enough that I gave a note for people to sing to, you
Right.
know?
That was
And so that was
wow.
it.
That was a good way to describe
That was it.
it.
But it was so because you were struggling playing the guitar every service and we didn't have a piano
It felt
player.
like the Rick show.
Yeah. And so I was like, okay, I'll try something, I'll try something. And it was definitely not my gift, but it was something that allowed people to sing to. And we even had a few specials,
Right.
something different. And so it stretched me there, but I realized, okay, that's not what God gave me. But it was something new, something
Yeah.
different. Teaching the kids
It was better than not having
nothing.
it. Yeah.
Yeah. I learned to teach the kids really and Wednesday and stuff really after when we got to the Dows. And I like that, but it's really not my gift either.
Right. Yeah.
And so then when we got here, at first I thought, there's no way I can lead ladies,
Mm.
and and then doing
sometimes leading is a necessity.
Yeah.
And there was clearly a necessity to step into that leadership
Yes.
role here.
Yeah.
And Angela stepped up to that,
Yeah.
and
And
but then found
that I liked it.
Yeah.
And I enjoyed it.
And I don't mean like pastoring the women or something like that, but just leading the ladies' ministries.
Yeah.
Um,
They needed. So I learned this, that if someone's always going to lead,
mhm.
and if it's not the pastor's wife, it's usually someone who wants to be the pastor's wife and shouldn't be.
Well, not necessarily wants to be the pastor's wife.
They want the role of the
But they
pastor.
want that role of
Yeah.
authority. And usually the people that want the role of authority aren't the ones that should have it.
Yeah. So I did learn that, and it was, I know I messed up a lot there in the beginning when we came to Beth Haven, but I, struggled through it, learned some things, trial and error, and then I think starting the ladies retreats in 2009 really helped me, and then 2010 I mentored underneath another pastor's wife in Arizona that helped me really structure the ladies
Cornerstone
retreats.
Baptist Church in Phoenix, Mrs. Randolph. Angela just heard about it, and she's like,
I called her and I'm like, hey, can I come shadow you and ask you a bunch of questions, and I'll help you with whatever you need to do. I don't want to hold you up, or whatever. So I did. I followed her around and asked her a million questions. I saw how she led each aspect of the ladies retreat and led the ladies and how they came to her, and all of those things, and it really resonated with me because I didn't want to be the
I run it all.
I really wanted to do for the ladies here at Beth Haven when we came as pastor, like the ladies did for me when we came to school. Must be tired.
Why are you going and crying?
But I didn't know anything, but I desired to learn, and they really took me in and taught me so much.
Well,
and I wanted to be that way for the ladies that I was now responsible to lead.
Titus says the elder women to teach the younger women. Yeah. I think sometimes that doesn't happen because the younger women aren't willing to learn.
That's true. Because, they're sometimes young ladies are snotty.
They want to do it, and they think me doing it is me learning, as opposed to me shadowing and watching and observing and helping.
Yeah.
And I think that is a big difference. I think young women in ministry should find a experienced woman, whether it's in church or whether it's another pastor's wife, and just ask them to teach you how they do
show me things. Like, I'm struggling in this area. I don't know. I've never done this before. I need help,
Yeah, because when we were in school, you did that with several, like, hey, would you teach me how to organize my house? I don't know how to organize the house.
I had a lady help me with that because I didn't know. I didn't know how to keep things in order and have small children.
But it takes humility to do that.
Yeah.
To acknowledge that you don't know something. And sometimes young people, I don't mean to single out women, young men are the same way. They're not willing to be humble enough to acknowledge that they really don't know how to do something.
Yeah.
And to ask those who have experience to teach them.
Yeah. So
I think that's what we did the most.
Yeah.
Over time, is going to people that had the experience and wisdom to do the things. How do we do this? That's what that's what I was doing in school.
Yeah.
How do I fix my marriage? How do I help other people minister? And it changed us.
Yeah. And I didn't want to sit back and be like, oh, well, that's his ministry. That's his job. This is his life. I wanted to be a part of that. I wanted to have purpose in our marriage, in our life, and in our ministry. So
when we left Beth Haven as pastor at the beginning of 25,
oh man, I struggled.
we're still out of Beth Haven as sent, but we were pastoring, and then now we're in evangelism, and it was a huge struggle for Angela, because she had to give up the role of pastor's wife and leading, those ministries and leading the ladies ministry and the kitchen ministry of Hope, and that's what she did during Hope. And
I loved all of that. I loved the.
I didn't know this was going to be an emotional
Either.
episode, so
Why are you making me cry?
I just
I
do that.
loved, I loved the ladies' retreats. I loved Hope. I loved the Bible studies. I love those ministries, and I feel like God really grew me through those.
So that was a big struggle, I guess, in early part of evangelism, was feeling like, where's my role in this? And I think that it's interesting in this stage of ministering together, because I think that maybe that's why a lot of evangelist wives don't travel with them.
Because they don't know what their identity
Well, what is
is.
my role here? What am I here for? You're the one preaching.
Yeah.
I'm just here.
And I hear these messages.
Yeah. And
You've been really good not to do that.
I don't repeat
But
the same messages
I
a
know that a
huge
lot
amount of
of
time.
them do. They preach the same thing everywhere they go.
Well, or at least for the year.
Yeah.
But
So I understand why they would get tired of that.
yeah, but I think more than that is just not feeling like you have a part
place, yeah.
and a place. And I think that's where we had to find that phase, work through that phase to, okay, what is your role here? What is your part?
One of our dearest friends and missionary.
Wait, we have friends?
And faithful listener, big fan. They really helped us with that because they write children's books and
Great,
shared their heart with
graceful,
gracious
digitals.
Yeah.
If you go on Amazon.
Anyway, so they just shared their heart with why they started that and all of that, and it just really resonated with us. And she showed me how to do it, and I've called her, we've FaceTimed, I've texted her so many times, how did you do that? How do I do that? And it really kind of gave me the confidence and gave me an area that I love doing it.
It wasn't that you weren't doing parts and stuff, but it wasn't something that had clicked with you as far as like, wow, this is really worthwhile to do.
Right. And I'm not super techie, so I didn't know at first how to do like all the book publishing. I still don't really know how to do all the book publishing margins and all of that as you write books. So I didn't think I could do any of that. But then she helped me and gave me some confidence. And I know if I called her right now, she would be like, yeah, let me show you how to do this. She sends me how to do videos, and things. So, anyway, but so that really helped me settle me down more.
Yeah. I think that's the key, is just continuing to search within that aspect and finding that niche that you find fulfillment in serving in, right? And not just resigning yourself to, well, this is not, I'm just here.
Right.
And
you helped me a lot with it. You didn't just say, well, just figure it out. You were like, here, try this, or what if we did this? And,
And sometimes I said, don't do that again. Don't do that again.
Well, I can tell you I don't play the piano. Anyway, but no, I think that's just a huge key part of it, is you recognize I was struggling with it too, and just helping me find where I fit in this stage of ministry in life.
And that's a lot of it, is helping each other, looking to where is it a need that they have that I can help.
Right.
And I think that's why, God said, help meet.
Yeah.
Right. But it's not like always just intuitive. Sometimes it takes examination. It takes time. It takes trial and error. It takes learning. You've got to learn. And just because you don't know how to do something doesn't mean that you're not gifted at it. As you try it, you might find, oh, wow, I didn't know I could do this. Right. And then that develops into an area that you have a love for, but you were willing to try when you didn't know what you were doing or how to do it. And I think that that's a huge part of it. Yeah. Anyway, well, we're going to try and splice this together. I hope it worked.
Sorry for all the ugly crying.
Um, if you have questions or comments, send them to
Carter's, the number 4 hope at gmail.com. Leave it on Life and Godliness on Facebook, or comment on YouTube or Spotify.
And let us know. And we're going to talk to you again after Hope Conference. We'll let you know how it went.